my name is Talkmaster and welcome to Spartan Weaponry mod. Today we're going to be looking at all the different types of weapons that this mod will add. This is a very vanilla friendly mod, updated to the latest version, 1.16.4, well as close to the latest version as you can get, but it's also available for 1.12.2, which can be quite fun in my opinion, especially if you add some other mods like Ice and Fire and Spartan Fire. We will be covering Ice and Fire in a later episode, but today we're just going to focus on this mod. Now, as you guys know, I do like to do a part 2 of mod tutorials, and part 2 of this will be using these weapons to do a boss fight as best as I can. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, but that's next time. Today, we're going to be looking at all the different weapons. We have ranged weapons, spears, blunts, and swords. These are categories I personally made up, just so you know, it just looks like this in a tab. There's also a modded version, using modded materials, with the strongest being platinum, and the weakest being copper. Anyway, let's just hop right into it. We're going to start with the spears section. These things have in common are that they have range, and they use a pole to craft. But they each have different attributes. Let's start with just the basic spear. The diamond spear. It has reach 1 as its trait, increased melee damage range, higher reach levels have more range. 7 attack damage, slightly slower than a sword. So it's basically just a slightly slower sword with reach. Its recipe is this, a diamond and a pole. Spartan weaponry weapons have different handles and such. There's poles and handles. Poles are made with either 3 sticks and a bit of string, 8 sticks and a bit of wool, or 8 sticks and a bit of leather. Crafting it with wool or leather gives more, but with string you only get 1. I do suppose it makes sense as 4 string equal 1 wool, so you can kind of just pick and take what you will from that. Anyway, it's just that. It's just a diamond sword with a bit of reach. Still, it's a pretty good weapon. And as you can see, you can hit from far away, which honestly, in PvP, makes it invaluable. What's good is that you can also use a shield with it. Don't want that book. Yeah, you can use with shield. Not all weapons are actually capable of being used with a shield. The next weapon is the Diamond Halberd. This has more damage than a diamond sword, it's slower, it's two-handed, so it means when using with a shield, that's the wrong way around, you get Mining Fatigue 4, which honestly makes it a lot slower, so you don't want to use this with a shield, even though it looks really cool. The Diamond Halberd has a couple extra things. It has, of course, the two-handed, the reach, but it has shield breach, so basically it works like an axe. It has a chance to destroy the opponent's shield. Anyway, though, it's a pretty good weapon, does good damage. Ooh, fun fact, because this is 1.16.4, all of these weapons can be upgraded to a Netherite version, which has even more damage. I'll grab the Netherite version of the halberd here, as you can see. Fair amount more damage, and it has a material bonus. It's fireproof, which means you can just drop it into fire or lava, and it won't burn. See? It's fine. Whereas if I drop this one, it disappears. I think that's quite cool. Anyway, let's move on to the next weapon. Okay, next we have... You guys see this too, right? Must be a visual glitch. The podiums are from the Ice and Fire mod. As I said, I will be covering this in the future. Just give me like a minute to grab this. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back and I have the pike. It's working out. Yeah, see, now it's working. That's good. The diamond pike, it's like a spear. It's actually very close to a spear, except it's two-handed, but it has reach 2. I grab the spear. Same damage, same speed, but this has reach 2 and two-handed. Which makes sense if you look at the size of it. The models are very well done, in my opinion, sticking close to vanilla. Yeah. Let's see how far we can reach this guy. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. 7.5 blocks away, you can hit this guy. Next, we have the Diamond Lance. This is mainly used for horse riding and has reach, a riding damage bonus, and sweep. Sweep is just like first level. Each level sweep is just like sweeping edge. Sweep 1, sweeping edge 1, etc, etc. What's cool about this one is if you're riding a mob, any mob, it does double damage. So I'm going to quickly get a couple mobs here, and then we'll test it out. Okay, I'm back. And here we have a bunch of different mobs, including a modded mob, which can be used to, which can be ridden to increase the damage. We'll start with the Hippogriff. This is from the Ice and Fire mod. It's a modded mob, which is bugging out a bit. See, double damage. Pretty good. And also, you can use this with a shield, which makes it even better. But yeah, on top of any mob. And it has the reach, so you can actually perfectly fine hit things, which I love. This is one of my favorite weapons if I have a horse I particularly like in a world. But yeah, quite fun. I also love the hippogriffs from the Ice and Fire mod. It just looks so cool. Alright, let's try it with the other mobs. There's the horse. What's in there? The llama. Works on a llama. Let's even test a piggy. Works on a piggy. I'm gonna quickly get rid of these guys. Don't worry. No hippogriff, pig, llama, mule, or horse were hurt in the production of this video. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, they are gone. Don't worry, they were not hurt at all. I think you can still... No, you can't sadly hear the hippogriff in the background. They are noisy creatures. Anyway, let's move on to the next weapon. Okay, the next weapon is a Diamond Glaive. It has 8.5 attacks damage and 1 attack speed. It has Sweep 2, Reach 1, two-handed. So, it's not that different from a spear, really, except it's two-handed, but has Sweep 2 instead. Pretty good. What I love about this mod is everything really depends on your fighting style, how you like to do PvP. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of spears except the riding lance. I love that one. When we get to the swords area, that's the one I love. Anyway, the last part in the spear pole thing area is the quarterstaff. Sweep 2, 7.5, 1.4, and two-handed. I know I was just saying a bunch of numbers, which probably didn't make much sense, but 7.5 attack damage, 1.4 attack speed, Sweep 2, two-handed. Recipe is this. By the way, I know I did forget the recipes for the other ones, but it's fine. The recipes are very simple, and as long as you have JEI, you should be completely fine. Yeah, that concludes the spears part. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're doing the blunt section. To start off with, we have the Diamond Battle Hammer. It has 11 attack damage, 0.8 attack speed, and enhanced knockback and nauseous blow. Enhanced knockback basically means it sends things flying. Even more so if you have knockback 2 on it. And trust me, I tested it out on a villager. It goes... You just yeet a villager away with this. It also has nauseous blow. So as long as the person you're attacking doesn't have a helmet on, it will inflict nausea 2 on them. Pretty powerful. Here we have the Studded Club. 6 attack damage, 1.3 attack speed, and has the nauseous blow. It's not as good as the other weapons, not nearly as good, but that's because it's just so cheap. There's also a normal version, which is less damage, but still has nauseous blow. Next, we have the Studded Cestus. This is probably a favorite of mine as well. I know I've said this tons of time, it's a favorite, but it's true, there are just so many cool weapons in here. It has 3 attack damage, but 3.5 attack speed. Now normally, an attack speed that high isn't useful, as let's get a wooden hoe and try and spam it. See, it just does almost nothing because there is that damage immunity. Ignore that, please. But a part of the cess is it has quick strike, which means it has a very short hurt resistance time, so you can spam the crud out of this. Yeah, even more powerful if you add something like Strength 2 or Sharpness 5. Makes a really good weapon. Next, with the Warhammer. I'm not going to test on a dummy, but for some reason it destroys it. But I'm just going to go over it. 8.5 attack damage, 1.1 attack speed. It's two-handed, sadly, but it does have armor piercing. 50% of its damage ignores armor. That's amazing. That is genuinely amazing. I don't know why it does that. I don't think this weapon agrees with the dummy. But yeah, so if you're fighting something like if you're fighting a guy in full netherite, you want this weapon. You really do. Its recipe is this, really simple. Ooh, yeah, the handle recipe. Just like the pole, but less sticks. That's it. Next, we have the battle axe. This, another great weapon, to be honest. Good damage, decent attack speed, and you can use it as a normal axe and a battle axe. What's good about this one is that it doesn't take the extra durability damage for attacking like the normal axes do. Also, it is two-handed, which means it's not as good as the others, but honestly, blow for blow, this one's better. Next, we have the mace, the flanged, I have no idea how to say it, the flanged mace. Decent weapon overall, but it's best against the undead. It has 50% extra damage against undead enemies. So add Smite 5 to this, and you're gonna have yourself one heck of a zombie killer. Even normally it's pretty good. That concludes the blunt section. Let's move on to the next one. Here we have my favorite section, the swords. To start off with, we have a diamond longsword. 9 attack damage with 1.4 attack speed, two-handed and sweep. Its recipe is like this. 4 diamonds and a handle. More expensive than a diamond sword, but in my opinion better. It has sweep, first of all, so you don't need to enchant it. Its damage is good, and even if it's two-handed, it's still a good weapon. But not as good. Still, it really depends what you like and what weapons you want to, what your fight style is. Next, we have the katana. 5 attack damage and 2 attack speed. Quite low for a weapon when you say especially diamond one. That's because it has a chest damage bonus. If the opponent does not have chest armor, it deals like double the damage. And with it being a fast weapon and having sweep, katanas are quite good, especially early on or against mobs. Its recipe is this, fairly easy to make, and yeah, definitely worth it. Next, we have the saber. The saber is a one-handed weapon which, like the katana, has a chest damage bonus and a sweep one. I have no idea what the damage absorption does. I've tested it out, but I couldn't get it working. So either way, it's a good weapon. It's a one-handed version of the katana. So yeah, I think it's better, in all honesty. If you're gonna have a katana, get a saber instead. It's slower, you can use a shield. Next, we have the rapier. The diamond rapier. 3.5 attack damage, 2.4 attack speed, one of the fastest weapons there is. It has the damage absorption as well, like the saber, but it also has the unarmored damage bonus. 200% damage when the foe has no armor. A normal hit does 10.5 for the diamond. Basically, triples. Pretty damn good. That only works though if they have no armor. As soon as you give them a little bit of armor, let's just give this guy some boots. Yeah, that damage boost is gone. So it's really If you're going against mobs, definitely use this, but it's not worth it against armored enemies. The last weapon in the swords area is the greatsword. This is my favorite. I know I say it was a lot, I really do, but look at it. It's such a cool weapon. Even the model, I love it. It's an expensive weapon, but it is so worth it. It has reach and sweep free, not to mention good attack damage. One downside is that it has level 2 two-handed, which means if you have a shield, it doesn't just give you normal amounts of mining fatigue, it gives you mining fatigue 4 instead of 3. Still, in my opinion, it's a really good weapon, even one-handed, and I love it. Okay, that finishes the swords area. Next we got the ranged. Best for last, some might say. Okay, here we have the ranged area. To start off with, let's start with the dagger. This is diamond dagger. Cheap to make, good damage, good attack speed, and you can throw it. Overall, a good weapon. I really recommend it. Especially if you're just going around, if you're adventuring, this is a good weapon. It's one you can throw in a pinch, but also it just when fighting mobs, it is very useful. Plus, it's cheap, which is really handy as well. So don't be afraid to throw these away. Next, we have the throwing knives. These are amazing. You can just yeet them and almost spam them. They come in a stack of 16, which means they are meant for just throwing as many as you can, as quickly as you can. The damage is good, and even if you don't want to throw them, you can use them as normal weapons. So I really recommend throwing, they're just so much better when thrown. Next, we have throwing axes, or tomahawks. These do more damage than the knives, but they don't have the same spamming potential. As you can see, you only have 8 per stack, whereas the throwing knives you have 16. These are more meant for, they're less for just standing still and shooting as many as you can. They're more for like running around, pulling back. Yeah, they're more for two-handed combat. So if I quickly grab a saber, so as you can see I have a saber here, I'm going to put these in my offhand. I can shoot, I can attack. So yeah, that's kind of what it's meant for. That's what I think anyway. Yeah, that's the tomahawk. Okay, next we got the javelin. This is only a stack of 4, but it does, well, we can see. Let's just see. Less damage than the tomahawk. And it only has 4. But I think it throws further. Yeah, it throws further. It has more range than a tomahawk, but less damage. So if you want pure high damage, go for the tomahawk. If you want spam potential, go for the throwing knives. But if you want range, definitely go to javelin. All in all, pretty good weapons. I just love throwing it. Even just like the trident. But look, I'm just shooting them out of my mouth. Yeah. I love it. Anyway, let's move on to the next weapon. Okay, the next weapon is my all-time favorite in this mod. Like, my number one. I love this so much. And that's the boomerang. And before any of you ask, no, I'm not Australian. I've been asked that question plenty of times before. But yeah, this is a really cool weapon, which, if you angle it right, bounces off the walls. Yeah, and it always will return to you. What's best about this is that its damage is really good, and you can use it as a melee weapon as well, as you can see. Good attack speed. But it requires no ammunition. You can just throw one and don't have to worry about wasting ammunition or wasting resources. It's amazing. It just always comes back to you. Well, most of the time. Depends how it's angled. It's also just really funny. But yeah, that's the boomerang. Let's go to the next one. Okay, next we got the longbow. The diamond strengthened longbow. I'm gonna grab some arrows here. and pop into survival. So you guys can properly see how this works. Okay. Well, we got the longbow, we got our arrows, and well, let's see. This mod adds wooden, iron, diamond, and explosive arrows. Let's start with the wooden. See the kind of damage it does. 4. Yeah, guys, don't make the wooden arrows. They're not worth it. You're better off just with flint or the iron, if you don't mind spending a bit of your resources. Next, let's use the iron. That's a good amount of damage. Really good. Guess it depends where you hit. Good thing about a longbow, it has more range, but you do have to draw back a bit more, so it's like an upgraded version of a bow, in between the bow and a crossbow. A bow that acts like a crossbow, almost. But yeah, it is a pretty good weapon, even with the iron arrows. Let's look at the diamond ones now. What type of damage does this do? That is as much as a power 6, I think, on a direct hit. Yeah, that's an insane amount of damage if you get a good hit. Guys, diamond arrows, bloody expensive, but so worth it, definitely. If you're gonna make a longbow, definitely make some diamond arrows for that rare emergency. Ugh, I'm dreading this. I haven't tested out the explosive arrows, so I don't know exactly how this is gonna work, but let's see. 16 damage, and explode stuff. It seems like it only explodes soft blocks. I definitely want to investigate that. Let's shoot up there. Does it break stone? No, only soft blocks. That's quite cool, actually. So if your friend has a base made out of, like, wood, dirt, stone... Well, not stone, sorry. Like wood or dirt, you can blow it up. I wouldn't recommend it, though. That's just a bit mean. Okay, next, and the last weapon that we'll be showcasing today is a crossbow. A diamond strengthened, heavy crossbow. Now, I don't, as you can see, I have arrows in my inventory, but it won't load. That's because it doesn't take arrows, it takes bolts. We got normal iron bolts, spectral bolts, and diamond bolts. There are no wooden bolts, because I think, yeah, the most basic tier is just a normal iron one. A diamond strengthened crossbow, you first have to load it, then you can't just shoot. I mean, you can, but you have to then hold it to aim. Then once it's aimed, you can just let go. And as you can see, heavy amounts of damage. That was a diamond bolt, and it did 26 damage. Not to mention, these are really accurate, with really good range. You see that stone block up there? Look, that's just under. Well, not just, but that's a block and a half under. From this range, that's pretty damn good. I love it. The diamond crossbow is always a good choice. High damage and high range. Sadly, it is quite slow, but as you can see, that damage output is insane, and it's not even enchanted. Enchant this with quick shot free and multi-shot, you got yourself a dragon killer on your hands. Okay guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, so please, if you did, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for part 2. Bye!